Narrator: George Washington, the man who became the first president of the United States, the commander-in-chief of the Revolutionary Army, and the figure many call the father of his country. But who really was George Washington? Today, in just 10 minutes, we'll cover his entire journey, from his humble beginnings in Virginia to leading a new nation that would forever change the world. Early life. Narrator: George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia. He came from a family of planters, not wealthy aristocrats but comfortable enough. His father, Augustine, died when George was just 11, leaving him without the elite schooling many young men of his time enjoyed. Despite this, young George was ambitious. He studied mathematics, surveying, and the sciences of agriculture. By the age of 17, he had already begun working as a land surveyor, exploring the vast frontiers of Virginia. This early career not only built his fortune but gave him first-hand experience with the land, the people, and the challenges of the colonies. Military career: French and Indian War. Narrator: Washington's first taste of military life came during the French and Indian War. At just 21 years old, he was sent as an emissary to deliver a warning to the French forces in the Ohio Valley. Soon after, he found himself commanding men in battle. The young Washington quickly learned both the glory and the harsh realities of war. His first major engagement at Fort Necessity in 1754 ended in surrender. Yet these early failures taught him resilience, leadership, and the importance of discipline, lessons that would shape him into the commander America needed years later. Revolutionary War hero. Narrator: When tensions grew between the colonies and Britain, Washington's reputation as a strong leader made him the natural choice for commander-in-chief of the Continental Army in 1775. Leading an under-equipped, poorly trained force against the greatest military power in the world was no easy task. Washington lost more battles than he won, but he never gave up. His greatest strengths were his determination, strategy, and ability to inspire his men. The crossing of the Delaware River in 1776 and the surprise attack at Trenton turned the tide of morale. After years of hardship, Washington's leadership at Yorktown in 1781, alongside French allies, forced the British surrender. The revolution was won, and George Washington became a national hero. Narrator: After the war, Washington wanted nothing more than to retire to his farm at Mount Vernon, but his sense of duty called him back. In 1787, he presided over the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, where America's framework of government was drafted. His presence alone gave the new Constitution credibility, as people trusted his character and leadership. Narrator: In 1789, George Washington was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States, the only president in history to receive 100% of the electoral votes. As president, he faced enormous challenges. There were no traditions, no guidelines, no real example to follow. Washington had to set the standard. He established the first cabinet, appointed Alexander Hamilton as Treasury Secretary and Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State, and shaped the role of the executive branch. He supported Hamilton's financial plan, which stabilized the young nation's economy, and signed the Bill of Rights, ensuring freedoms for American citizens. Foreign affairs were tricky. Washington steered the nation away from getting entangled in European wars, choosing neutrality instead. His leadership kept the fragile republic alive during its first, most vulnerable years. Narrator: After two terms, Washington refused to run for a third. His farewell address in 1796 warned against political parties and permanent alliances with foreign nations, advice that echoed for centuries. Finally, Washington returned to Mount Vernon, where he hoped to enjoy a quiet life. But in 1799, only 3 years after retiring, he fell ill and died on December 14th at the age of 67. News of his death spread across the world, and even in Britain, the former enemy, people mourned his passing. Narrator: George Washington's legacy lives on as more than just the first president. He was the man who could have been king, but chose instead to step away from power. His leadership built trust in the new nation, and his character set the example for all presidents who followed. Today, his face is on the $1 bill, the quarter, and his name is on countless cities, streets, and of course, the capital of the United States. But beyond symbols, Washington's true legacy is the principle that leadership is about service, not power. And that is why George Washington remains, to this day, the father of his country